What's up, my family? It's your boy Flack, aka the Flag Attack, coming at you again with another Legend of Mushroom video. Today, we are going to be talking about relics. But first, before we get into the video, we're going to celebrate 2 weeks of Legend of Mushroom with a gift card giveaway. We're going to do a $50 gift card giveaway to either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. All you have to do is watch later in the video for details on how to enter that giveaway. Relics can be accessed via this tab up here, right there. And what they're going to do is they're going to provide you a bunch of stats and passive effects. So the first thing you're going to want to do, and I wish I would have known this a long time ago when I first started. The very first thing you're going to do is when acquiring the tridents for them via the ruined ancient city. This is how you're going to acquire them here. You are going to want to search for relics until you have all of your relics unlocked. I cannot tell you how many relics I wasted enhancing relics that I didn't necessarily need at the time. So because I wasted so many, I'm a little behind in unlocking these very end game type relics here. Necklaces. I just started unlocking these ones. The way it goes is you will unlock the relics kind of in order. So you'll unlock these ones first, your masks first, then you'll unlock this one. It kind of goes in this way. So unlock here, here, and you'll have a better chance of unlocking these ones if you haven't unlocked them already. So make sure that you're searching for relics first. Unlock them all. Figure out where you're going in your path of class, then level them up accordingly. So the first set of relics we're going to talk about today are masks. Which should you use for your class? So the first mask up here is the bonded mask. This one gives you a crit rate of 10%. This one can be really useful for almost every class except for your mage. You're going to want to use this for archers, warriors even. This is what you're going to want to use for that one. Next up, you have the Arrow King mask, aptly named. You're going to want to use these for archers. 100%. If you're an archer, you're going to want to use this Arrow King mask. Next one up, the Ironclad mask. This one gives you 10% counter. Definitely for warriors. If you don't use the crit rate one, I would definitely recommend doing the counter one. It depends on where you are with stat wise. If you're not getting good stats with your gear, or if you're not getting lucky with your prayer statue, you can use either of these to counterbalance that. Next one up is your evasion, your priest mask. This one could be used for any class really. It's more of a PvP based stat. If your evasion's kind of low, you can kind of toy around with this, up your evasion, and see if it helps you in PvP, as long as your opponent doesn't have a bunch of evasion resist. And then finally for the masks, we have the Demon's Mask. This one's going to be good for mages. Mages are going to need a lot of skill crit rate. This is going to bump up your skill crit rate for mages. Next, we're going to go over to your pals relics. These are relics that you're going to use for certain pals that you have. It's going to boost your pal damage and some skills. For like example, for this first one here, it's your Thundercaller kite. This one's very strong. This one's very popular. This one is probably the one you're going to want to use a lot. It's the Thundercaller kite. After using an active skills, summon lightning, dealing 546% damage, and that also increases when you level it up. Very useful, very general. It's probably the one that you're going to want to go to PvE, PvP, everything. Next up, we have the Gilded Eggshell. This one's kind of popular too. The chicken pal continuously throw 5 eggs every 10 seconds, dealing a total of 643% damage. I would say that this is primarily used for the archer class. Anytime you want to use your chicken to increase your basic damage, this one is going to give you a bunch of damage with that too. Plus it's on a 10-second cooldown, so that's relatively low. Next up is the Whirlwind Feather. If you're using any regular sprite, this is going to increase its attack speed by 17%. Because we don't really have any test dummies or anything like that, we can't really get a sense of what our pals do as for damage. So I would say for right now, if you're thinking about using this sprite Whirlwind Feather, I would stick with just the kite. You're going to get more damage over time with your spells because we don't really know how much damage our pals are doing. Next up, the Amber Snail. This one is going to increase your snail and hydro sprite pal damage by 10%. It can scale pretty well, but like I said, because we don't know the exact damage of our pals, we're going to go ahead and we're going to opt with the kite instead of the snail for now, until we get a sense of where our damage is coming from with our pals. Last but not least, and one of the ones that I use, is the Dragon Weave Circlet. So basic attacks of dragon, turtle, or lizard pals have a 20% chance to deal damage equal to 0.5% of their own max HP. Now, I use this one because I think it's good, but I don't know exactly, like, we don't have any stats on them. We don't know how much our dragon's HPs are. We don't know any of that. So, a 0.5% of HP with a 20% chance, I think is beneficial. I've been toying around with it. Use it at your own discretion. Let me know in the comments how you feel about it. Next up, we're going to go to the purple slot in your relics. These ones are also pal based. So the first one we have is Blessed to Do. Increases your cactus pals combo rate by 19. Again, we don't really know the stats for our pals. That's one of the things we need to get from the game. We don't understand our pal damage. We don't know their attacks, all that stuff. So for right now, because I have a cactus, I am using this one. The Arrow Bamboo increases the Panda Pal's crit rate by 16%. 16.7%. Like I said, we don't really know that one. Anything that increases base pal damage, you're going to have to just play it by ear. This one is interesting. Every 12 seconds, your Snow Sprite pal hurls a massive snowball. This one's really good for when you're going to be fighting bosses where you're going to be using your Snow Sprite to try to survive. It's going to deal extra damage. So like the slime, the dragon, and the snake bosses. So to enter the giveaway, all you're going to need to do is be subscribed to the channel for one. Number 2, you're going to like this video. And number 3, you're going to go ahead and let me know in the comments what is either the most valuable information you've got from this channel or something you would like to see from this channel in the future. I will pull the winners March 31st. Good luck, everybody. So anytime you're going to be using warriors, you're going to want to use your magic box. This relic increases cat and deer pals damage by almost 17%. And then last but not least is the Metamorphic Crystal. This increases the attack speed of dog, fox, and octopus pals by 6%. So this one could be really good. Like I said, we don't really know their damage output or anything like that. Next up, we're going to be talking about the yellow slot. So the first one up here is going to be the Flame Book. At the start of battle, increase attack by 1% up to 10 seconds. This is one we were talking about earlier. A really, really, really good book. Really good for offensive archers, your warriors. Very strong, 10% extra attack. The Beast Hide book. This one's going to be really good for when you want to do your boss battles, or if you're doing bosses that need a little bit extra damage to be able to complete those levels. It's going to increase your damage dealt to bosses by 20%. Huge amount. Next up is going to be a key one for the ones that deal all the damage, like your slime boss, your snake boss, your dragon boss. It's going to be the immunity book. In boss levels, you become immune to damage for 3 seconds when HP drops below 70% for the first time. Now that helps you stay alive for an extra 2 to 3 attacks from the slime and the snake boss. It's really clutch. I'm putting out a video on all of the bosses, so you can watch that and I'll explain that in those as well. Next up, we have the healing book. This is for prolonged battles, maybe battles where you need more damage from your pals or skills instead of defense. In boss levels, restores 10% of your lost HP every 5 seconds. This healing book has come in clutch for me many times in those long battles where I need extra damage, where you're just barely cutting it down to the wire. Maybe you're not beating that boss every 1 second. You need to add another damage spell that does a little bit more damage. You could put this healing book in and it will boost up your healing and boost up your damage that you're able to get from your spells and or skills. Last but not least, increases basic attack damage resist, pal damage resist, counter damage resist, combo damage resist, and skill damage resist. It's the Stone Writ Tome. I would say this is more of a PvP based relic. Next, we're going to go over here to the orange tab, and that's going to give us our skills boosts here. The first one up is this one is really good. It's the energy statue. This is going to increase the damage dealt by Nature's Renewal and Shroom Shield by 30%. That's a 30% increase in the bump. So that really puts it up there with other offensive spells. Next, we have the Cage statue. It boosts the effects of Durian Bomb, Easy Breezy, and Take It Slow by 30%. So these are going to slow enemies. It's going to increase the effectiveness of those spells. So really useful. Say you want to get, you know, you take a little bit of time for the waves to come at you, or like the slime boss or the snake boss that has to travel across the screen to get you. This one's going to be good for that. Next up, and this is the one I use as an archer, boost the effects of coin bomb, slime bomb, and meteor fall by 30%. This one's going to give you bonus attack, speeds, and damage. Next up, we're going to have time statue. This is going to extend the effect duration of disarm, dazzled, and smoke bomb by 50%. So maybe we're looking at like warriors here, who are trying to use defensive and reduce that damage, or even in PvP. This is going to be really beneficial relic for you. Next up, stellar statue. This one also is like a PvP based. You can use it on boss fights as well. It's going to extend the effect of 100 slashes, worldly snare, and star array by 50%. Huge 50% duration boost. So if you have these spells unlocked, definitely go with those. Now, we only get one more of the relics unlocked to us in the handbook. I don't know if it's because we need to go one more or if it just isn't unlocked yet, but we're going to go all the way down here to our necklaces. So the first necklace on the list is going to be shield necklace. That's going to increase our Grim Reaper's damage by an additional 80%. So if you have the Grim Reaper spell, this is a huge boost to that spell. Next up will be the Crimson Sickle Necklace. Upon triggering Wild Gust or Blade Pierce, restore 2.5% of max HP. This could be good if we're in a long fight and we need to gain just that little bit more health back. I would say it's kind of a meh relic, but we'll see once we get into testing with it. Next up is going to be Storm Necklace. Increase the damage of summoned units by 30% during Heroic Descent and Clone Strike. So this is going to bump the damage of your ghost that comes out of it and attacks, as well as your little mushroom clone, super overpowered ability that comes out and attacks as well. Not a huge bump, but still a little decent if you pull it. Next we have Spirit Necklace. Basic attacks deal an extra 15% damage during Blitz Assault. So this is an immortal skill, and it's going to summon Golden Lightning, dealing 5,829% damage and providing 3 seconds of damage immunity. Huge. This is going to come in huge for PvP, boss fights, pretty much everywhere. And this is going to bump up its damage. And this is going to bump up the damage of your basic attacks by 15%. Abyss Necklace. Increase the damage of Dragonic Resonance, Wildborn Arrow, and Crimson Moonfall by 30%. So if you have those skills and you're using those skills, this would definitely be a huge bump in your DPS for those. And then of course, like I say, we don't have the Spore one unlocked yet. I don't know if that's because they haven't released the Spore relics yet, or if I just haven't unlocked them because I haven't gone that far. Those are relics. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or comments below, please let me know. And as always, keep on growing.